All right, in this video, I'm going to be introducing multiplication to you. You can also think of this one as a shortcut for repeated addition. Our learning target is I can make connections between adding and multiplying. So first, think back to when we figured out how many objects were in an array by adding up the rows or adding up the columns. In this picture, we were making equal groups of 2 in every column, or 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. Over here, we solved the same problem by making 2 equal groups using the rows. In this one, we have 3 plus 3. It still equals 6, though. So for today's video, let's focus on this first one. There were 3 columns with 2 diamonds in each column. 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. We were repeatedly adding the 2, adding it over and over, and all of the groups are equal. They all have 2. We also have talked about how you could have used a skip counting strategy to count the 2's and find out the answer. 2, 4, 6. There's 6 diamonds in the array. Skip counting might have been a little faster for you, or maybe you skip counted when you were adding anyway. As long as the numbers in each group are the same, both strategies work. But there's a new strategy now that you're a 3rd grader, and it's a little bit more efficient. That's multiplication. It's just a shortcut for when you're adding up the same amount over and over, or repeated adding, or a shortcut for skip counting. So here's how I thought through this one using the multiplication strategy. We have 3 groups, the 3 green circles. We have 2 diamonds in each group. The groups are equal. That's really important. Multiplication won't work if the groups have different amounts in them. So 3 groups times 2 shapes in each group is 6 shapes altogether. 3 times 2 is 6. Both of these equations, 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6, or 3 times 2 equals 6, they both match the picture. Today, I'm going to teach you a game called Loops and Groups to help you make connections between repeated adding and multiplication. You can play this game alone or with a partner. With a partner is probably more fun, but you have to talk someone into playing it with you at home. Or when you play this game, you're going to be showing your work with repeated adding, but also showing your work with multiplication. That's going to help you make the connection between multiplication and repeated adding. You'll also want to be practicing this game quite a bit because multiplication is a new concept for 3rd graders and we want to get really strong at it. So let's take a look at how to play the game. Okay, when you open up the game, the first page you see is the directions. Looking down in the bottom right corner, you can see this game has 3 pages in it and we're on the first page. So, to play this game, the first player is going to roll the die and draw that number of loops, the big circles. Then player 1 is going to roll a second time to see how many shapes to draw in each loop. I see them as groups of things with stuff in them, or the loops hold a group of objects. After you draw your picture, you're going to record a multiplication equation and a repeated adding equation that represent the picture. I'm adjusting the directions there because I want you to write the adding equation and the multiplying equation to help your brain make that connection. Eventually, once you get good at multiplying and you feel really strong with it, you can take out the repeated adding part. After you take your turn, player 2 is going to do the same steps on their sheet. The game has 5 rounds, and at the end of the game, each player adds up their answers to find their total score. there's some fancy math words in here. Each player finds the sum of their 5 products. A sum is an answer when you add. Product is an answer when you multiply. Basically, just add up your answers, and whoever has the bigger total of their answers is the winner. You can adjust the game by following these variations, but we won't need to worry about that because this is the first time you've played it. Couple quick buttons to know about. You have a zoom in. You won't need to hide anything, but this is the screen. This is the equation writer, the typing one where you can type words, and the crayon. Okay, let's go to page 2 and start the game. So, for my first turn, I need to figure out how many loops I'm going to draw. I'm going to toss this dice. And it rolls, 1, okay. I will do 1 big loop. Then I roll the dice again. Let's put down my crayon, roll the dice. Another 1, goodness gracious, okay. My group has 1 thing in it. To write an equation, it would just be 1 equals 1. There's only 1 thing there. This is a really silly first example. To write a multiplication equation, because there's nothing to add, so the adding equation, I guess I could do 1 plus nothing, because there was nothing else to add. And then my multiplication equation, this is where it gets interesting. I have 1 thing, and it's in 1 group. 1 group of 1 object. Well, if I have 1 group of 1, how many dots do I have? Yeah, I just have 1 dot. 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, now if I was playing with a partner, they would take their turn on the next page. But since I'm just playing by myself, I'm going to keep going. You can do the same thing if you don't have anyone to play with at your house. Okay, let's roll the dice and get a bigger number. That's more like it. 4. I'm going to change colors. For my second turn, I need to draw 4 loops. 1, 2, 3. I should have drawn them smaller. 4. Now I roll the dice again to figure out how many things to put in each group. Oops, that's still the crayon. Let's put the crayon away. 2 things in each group. I'm going to move my dice off of the board because I need space to put my equations. Okay, 2 shapes in each group. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. I have 4 groups, and there's 2 dots in each group. Let's change colors for this as well. Now, I'm going to start with the repeated adding equation. Each of my groups has 2, so I'm going to go 2 plus 2 plus 2. And now because I have 4 groups, I should be adding up 4 2's. Oops, that's the equal sign, pardon me, plus 2. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. What does 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equal? 2, 4, 6, 8. Answer for the repeated adding was 8. But you can see that that took me a little longer to write. I would like a shortcut. The multiplication equation would go like this. I have 4 groups times 2 things in every group. It's going to have the same answer as when we added it up, 8. 4 groups of 2 is 8 altogether. I'll take one more example turn, and then we will practice this in our meeting a little bit later. Let's roll the dice. 5 groups. And I want a new crayon. I'm changing colors every time so my circles are clear. It's obvious which turn they belong to. Okay, I'm going to draw smaller circles this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And I keep forgetting to put the crayon down. There we go. 2 in each of the groups. You know, I'm going to roll that one more time because I want to have a slightly more interesting number for you. That's more like it. 5 dots in each group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some of my dots look like lines, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This can take a little longer when you roll a big number, but that's okay. Whew, okay. Now it's time for some adding. Let's move that out. Can I move it? There we go. Okay. I have 5 groups of 5, so I'm going to add up 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. Do I have 5 5s there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I do. Now, to figure out the answer, I could count the dots one by one, but I'm going to skip count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So, with repeated adding, let's put it down here for now so we can see. There's our equation, and there are 25 dots altogether. But we were working too hard. We could have just said 5 groups times 5 things in each group equals 25. Same answer, but multiplication is a shortcut for that big long equation of all the matching 5s. So, try this one out by yourself or with a family member, and we will also play it in our meetings today. That's all for now. See you in the next video.